I'm about to turn you on to this drug that's about to turn you out. Mm-hmm. It's called being sweet to your damn self.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what your style says about you?
I think the external projection says I'm confident, that I'm bold, like I'm strong. But I think if somebody's like really paying attention to my style, they'll look at me and be like, Omi loves being black. And my parents, growing up poor during Jim Crow in the South, were always trying to figure out how do we make sure our kids are good. They didn't come from money, but what they could give us as their children is like, listen, what you can do is you can show up sharp. That was one of my mom's favorite words about if I came in the house and I was looking a way that she really approved of, she would say sharp or she would say smart. And part of what she wanted my sister and I to know is like, how do you show up someplace? How do you show up someplace so people see you, but don't count you out? My mother did not think she was an attractive person. She grew up being told she was ugly and dark. I never was teased in that way, but something in me still felt like, you're not really a pretty girl, but what you can do is suit up. And so I started constructing my own armor to fit in and stand out at the same time.
Can you talk about assumptions that people make about you based on your appearance?
I have been told that when I walk into a room, I don't walk into a room like, hey, hi. I walk into a room like, hello. I think people think I have it all together. People think that I'm not afraid of anything. I don't have it all together at all. One of the assumptions that people make about me having like this whitish gray hair is that I dyed it. When someone says to me that I look younger, I'm like, what does that actually mean? Like, I don't think that's a compliment now. If someone says to me I look vibrant, that's a compliment I want. Mm-hmm. If someone says to me I look younger, I don't necessarily want that compliment because then that means like if I look my age, then what does that mean? I look haggard, I look raggedy, I look worn out. I don't want that. I want somebody to be like, Omi looks like a healthy, happy, joyous 54-year-old. Certainly when I stopped dyeing my hair, I was in my 40s. When I got initiated, and when you get initiated in the tradition of Ifa Yoruba, they shave your head. And I said to myself, however much gray I have, I commit to not dyeing it. When I had the opportunity to actually like see my own reflection again, I was like, oh shit, your hair is like gray. Mm-hmm. And I haven't dyed it since. This is curated. This is a vibe. Mm-hmm. I have curated a vibe that would give people the impression, well, she got it more together than I thought. Maybe she's actually more valuable than I thought, more attractive than I thought. I'm still in this journey of allowing myself to be soft and allowing myself to be more of my authentic self. A few years back, I found myself in a really, really dark place emotionally. I was about to turn 49, and I was diagnosed with clinical depression. And it shocked so many of my friends because, again, I curate a vibe. I show up strong. It wasn't even as obvious to me except for the fact that I lost like 30 pounds. It took my body like screaming at me for me to stop and be like, what do you need? What's wrong? It was the first time in my life that I was like, I could take relief being here. And the only thing, truthfully, that kept me from being like, all right, well, let me just piece everybody out, was my boys. And my little one, he was following me around the house. What I realized in retrospect is he was keeping watch because he couldn't feel me. That began my journey of committing to reunification of myself with the girl who wasn't as concerned about being perceived as being strong or fitting in or standing out, that 10-year-old Omi. I wanted to find her and I wanted to apologize. And then she was like, I'll come with you, but you gotta be open and you gotta be soft. It's okay. Like you can show up like a raggedy, hot, shitty mess and still be lovable.
Can you talk a little bit about what was like going on in your life that was like that kind of set off the depression, or like is there any relationship between that and like when you began menopause?
I was working at a job that had me traveling every week. I was also nursing a broken heart. It took me by surprise how that impacted me. So I didn't address it. We had rotisserie chicken and romaine lettuce salad every damn dinner. But literally, boom, 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 boom. All of those things happening at the same time, also while my body was going through the last part of menopause, were like pushing me, and the reemergence of the 10-year-old who was like, I'm going to get out of this well that she put me in, and I'm mad. I left behind in that 10, 11-year-old girl, a child who felt safe, who felt poured into, who enjoyed themselves without feeling any kind of fear or concern, and just felt free. Like I was just like a free kid. But when I was 11, things started like shifting with my parents. They got separated at the end of 6th grade. My mother was likely menopausal. And so she's got these 2 girls. She's living in this house that she can't afford anymore. And now as a mother who's divorced, I can look back on some of the things she did to kind of mask how challenging that time was. She would say, would y'all like breakfast for dinner? We'd be like, oh my God, yes. And we'd be all excited, like we're having pancakes and sizzling. Breakfast for dinner meant that she didn't have a whole lot to be cooking. But in the effort to keep myself safe, I problematized the other version of myself, the little girl that I pushed into the well. I'm like, I can't keep you safe and you can't keep me safe, so we gotta go our separate ways. And I didn't feel like anybody was ever gonna have a crush on me. I thought I was too brown to be considered cute. And then I started constructing masks to appear one way, whether I was feeling that or not. Strong, funny, smart. You might not think I'm pretty, but I'm gonna glamour you into thinking I'm pretty. As I'm creating these different masks that I think are gonna keep me protected or keep me safe, I also became masterful at orchestration. It's more about the facade, right? It's more about the storefront. When I got pregnant with Che, I think that both my boys came through with different gifts for my life. Che came through because I was on my way to being an aspirationally bourgeois person. I might not have the money, but I would have all the markings so I could pass. You know, if someone had you're a successful Black woman checklist, I'm checking that shit off. Graduate from college, pledge, get a job, date really attractive people, be active in church, be active in your community. And so Che came through, that list got eviscerated. He's my North Star. He came through, it's like, you wanna go that way. That's not the way. You're supposed to go this way. Taj came through when I was 41 to help me be sweeter to myself. And I was like, I can be happy? Yes, mommy, you can be happy.
So can you now take us from 49, the depression?
I don't look at the diagnosis of depression as a bad thing at all. The gift of therapy has been a tremendous investment in my own life that I don't feel guilty about. You ever walked in on somebody who you saw as a very glamorous person without any stitch of makeup on, and you're like, oh my goodness, look at you. It invited me to be able to do that. And not just with myself, but I am also giving myself permission to be more curious and interrogate what I've always believed about my parents. My mom passed when I was 31, and I was in the room with her when she took her last breath. From the realm wherever she currently resides, she was like, there's another part of my story you need to know. And last year, my nephew that I didn't know I had reached out to me on social media. And I found out my mom got married when she was 20. And she married a man who was abusive. I get on the phone with Terrence. My nephew's name is Terrence. And he told me the story about my mother having to leave behind her children to save her life. And she never saw them again. The kids ended up in foster care. So by the time she was able to I'm going to get my babies, they were gone. And this truth helped me understand why she loved us so fiercely. She just poured so much into us that she didn't have anything left for herself. That facilitated her being sick. You know, this story for me is powerful for so many reasons, because 23 years after she passed away, we get to know more about her. The universe is just consistently giving me messages around, be human, Omi. And so this 49 to 54 is like shifting the way I talk to myself and being nicer to myself. When I have a negative thought, rather than me being like, why would you even think that? Or why would you even do that? I'm like, we're having a hard time today. Not, why did you do that? Why did you say that? It's, what do we need right now? I'm just now trying to talk to myself the way I would talk to my best friend, talk to myself the way I would talk to my kids. And it gave me an opportunity to be like, well, what would it look like if you just did something for yourself? And my oldest child, along with some other people, encouraged me to take a sabbatical. Folk were like, what would it look like if you actually took a year off of work? I was like, how am I gonna pay my bills? And they were like, ask your community. Ask your community to support you to take a year off of work. And it blows my mind every day that when I asked, folks said yes. And that's actually how the Black Girl's Guide to Surviving Menopause was born. The number of conversations I've had with other women who were like, I'm tired, Omi. I said, and what would it look like for you just to sit down? It's like I'm giving them like the best drug, right? It's like, look, I'm about to turn you on to this drug that's about to turn you out. Mm-hmm. It's called being sweet to your damn self.
Mm-hmm. When do you feel the most vulnerable?
I feel very, very vulnerable with my best girlfriends. Most of my best friends I've known for 30 years or more. And I think that I actually started to allow them to really see me in the last 5 to 6 years. I have not experienced that yet in romantic relationships. You know, the ability to be with a partner or to be with a lover and be like totally soft and vulnerable.
When do you feel the most beautiful?
I have these moments where I feel like I'm striking, where I feel like I'm attractive or compelling.
Yes.
But beautiful is not a word that I use to describe myself. The sum total of all the things that have been curated and constructive gives off beautiful adjacent. My ability to look at myself in the mirror and be like, Omi, you're beautiful, hasn't arrived to me yet.
It's around the corner.
Is it around the corner? Okay.
Definitely.
Maybe this is the moment.
This could be.
Why in your body? Why in your skin? Why in your journey? Why is it a good place to be?
This is my home, and I haven't always treated it like it was my home. I treated it like it was something to be served up for someone else to like consume or someone else to validate. I can be kind to this home. I can take care of this home. I can still zhuzh up this home. I can still play with it, but I just want to be more grateful for this home that's my body.
Thank you so much. That was really, really, really beautiful.
You're welcome.
We're so grateful to you.
And thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you to our partner Bonafide for standing with us in our pursuit to destigmatize menopause and defy ageism taboos.
When I was going through menopause about 10 years ago, I felt very overwhelmed with having nowhere to turn in terms of understanding what was happening to me, how to deal with the symptoms. And I really wish that there was a company like Bonafide making organic and natural products that would have helped me in so many ways that I didn't have at that time. All Bonafide products are scientifically validated and recommended by over 8,000 doctors across the country.
And they offer hormone-free relief from menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, and vaginal dryness. Save up to $30 a month when you bundle 2 or more of your favorite Bonafide products together and opt for a bundle subscription.
Bonafide wants you to find relief from menopausal symptoms so that you don't have to suffer through it like so many people have.
If you're interested in a naturally derived but effective solution to menopause, try 20% off your first subscription with code StyleLikeU today.
We also want to extend a big thank you to True & Co. for co-sponsoring this episode.
Learn more about why we chose to partner with True & Co. and how they're supporting our mission in the description below.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of What's Underneath with Omisade Burney Scott.
Subscribe to StyleLikeU for more interviews like these.
And don't forget to click the bell so that you're reminded of when we drop a new episode on Thursdays.